Hello and welcome to Talking Good Game. It's a match preview of West Ham United against Southampton after that positive performance at Anfield. Gonzo, how are you doing tonight?
I am not bad at all, and yourself?
I'm not too bad. Maybe slightly more optimistic than I perhaps was on Monday afternoon. But before we get into the game, we've got an important message from an important person.
Tracy from 38 just need to remind you that no matter where you are and what hands are doing, you're a shower on the couch. Just remember, while you're down there, beware.
As Tracy herself says, when you're down there, be aware. All our videos this week are in collaboration with Dylan Tombides Foundation. Link is in the description below. Anyway, Gonzo, thoughts on Southampton, please?
Yeah, I would also say when you're down there, don't just stare. I thought it, it rhymes. It added something. Southampton, on the other hand, well, they have done very well not to sack their manager, I've got to say, and they've been richly rewarded. Old Heisenbergenstein, or whatever his name is, as funny enough, I've looked at their recent form, and when I looked just before doing this video, I thought I'd have a look at the league table. They're 3 points basically behind Arsenal. I could go level with Arsenal if all the results went in their favour, but actually they're a little bit patchy in terms of recent form. So in the last 5, which is what I always look at, they've obviously lost 3 and won 2. Not that should bother them when they face us, because our form is the worst in the whole of the Premier League. But a really, really good, a really well-run club. I highlighted them earlier in the season when we were when we found out we had half a scout or whatever it was, and I sort of researched how well they were run on every level. They're a really well run club, and it's no surprise when you look at how thorough they are. Their managers turned out to be quite a good one, because they probably researched that very well as well. The players are playing well. They've got a good, excellent striker in Shane Long, and very, very good team, mate, and we couldn't be playing them at a worse time, really.
Gonzo's trying to do a bit of efficient expertise there on me with that striker. We'll get on to that in a minute. I'm glad Southampton have been rewarded for sticking by the manager. I do not like this sacking mentality we have of managers in the Premier League. I don't like this whole short-term thing. I like to see a manager be backed, and they backed Hasenhüttl, and he's especially after getting thumped 9-0 by Leicester. The trigger must have been itchy at one point. They must have been sitting there thinking at one point, do we need to get rid of him? They didn't. They stuck by him. They thought, no, you know what? We've got the right man. Because they're confident in the way they're almost confident in their own process of selecting the right man to become the manager. And if you've got the right process in place, which Southampton do, which you've alluded to, then you should trust it. You should back your system almost. It's almost like an algorithm to run in a football club that they've got there. And their machine, Hasenhüttl, well, you've got to stick with your machine. If it's been working so far, stick with it. And they've done that, and I'm pleased, because I actually think they're playing not bad football. I think they've got some good players in there. I think he's got some players playing better than they perhaps perceived to be, if that makes sense at all. So yeah, all good from Southampton. It's turned out to be a bit of a comfortable season, after which it looked a bit ropey earlier on. And next season, if I was a Southampton fan, I'd be thinking, well, can we maybe go for a cup or something? That's got to be the aim. Danny Ings, though. Do you think he should be away to the Euros, or at the very least included? The next internationals is just round the corner. Do you think he should be given a call up from England?
I do, actually, because he warrants it, and I think he's a better option than Tammy Abrahams, who started the season very well, but he doesn't seem to have the staying power that Ings has had throughout the season. Now, you can understand that. He's a young player, Abrahams, who spent all his time out on loan until Frank's come in and given the youngsters a chance, of course. Ings was very, very unlucky with injury. Got his move to Liverpool from Burnley, as I remember, and it's a good, just a very good player, isn't he? So now he's at Southampton. You wouldn't buy a player like that because of the knee injury. That would put you off. That's a serious injury. So we talk about them doing something well about their scouting. I mean, clearly their medical department has worked wonders as well, because they've kept somebody with a serious injury fit and firing. I think he missed a couple of games here and there, but nothing major. And he's bright, isn't he? He shoots early, which is always a good thing. He also shoots without telegraphing his shots as well, so he generates quite a lot of power. And he's got a football brain as well. And I think it looks like, if you're asking England, looks like Kane won't be ready. Looks like Rashford can't be ready. Are hardly blessed with loads of options. Well, if he doesn't go, I'd like to know who the three are that are going to go instead of him.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see him doing well. It was taking a while for my Danny Ings love to come to fruition, but it's finally here now. I don't want to sit here and say I told you, but I was correct eventually. Perhaps is maybe the thing. No, I like him. I think he's got everything. I think he's got a bit of. He's not slow. He's not fast, but he's not slow. He's strong. It's his positioning that I like as well. His awareness of what's going on around him, and now we're seeing his finishing as well. Now he's getting. He's managing to stay fit. And I think him and Calvert-Lewin are England's top two strikers at the minute. They've very much taken advantage of the injuries to Rashford, Kane, and Tammy Abraham has been injured for a little bit, so I think that's perhaps why you haven't seen him scoring goals. But he's coming back as well, and I worry almost for Danny Ings that him and Calvert-Lewin are fighting for one position, and I don't think that's the way it should be. But I think them two strikers should probably be the first two strikers in the squad in March, in terms of form and stuff. But yeah, it's good to see Danny going well, and I just hope he doesn't continue that form though at the London Stadium on Saturday. He's one of my one of my favourite non-West Ham players, as you may well know, and Southampton have another one of those. But Gonzo, what players do you admire? Your friend's missing. Redmond's injured for this one, I'm afraid.
I know I don't have to talk about him in this preview, and it's good for us that he is missing, because obviously I rate him highly. To pick out players that we don't pick out normally. I like Bertrand. I thought Bertrand was a good buy. Perhaps not quite at the level Chelsea wanted, but certainly good enough to be a decent standard Premier League player. Really good. Also like the business they did for the other fullback position with Carl Walker-Peters. I think if they can make that deal permanent, that'll be really good for them. I believe he might be back and fit for this game, because whilst he might not be a Mourinho type player, and he's not, he's going to be a really good player. So I think that'd be a really good thing for them to do. I think I did mention Shane Long in jest at the start, but I think he's in good form, and he's industrious as well. I really like Shane Long. I mean, he gets a lot of stick because he has throughout his career gone through long periods without scoring goals for quite a long period of time. But actually, his ball control's not too bad. I think he's got good pace. I think he's got good work rate. I like him. I think he's a good player, and I like Højbjerg as well. And the other player, who I'll leave you to your other Southampton love, so I won't mention him or her. I like the fella you mentioned last time, and I mentioned him. I couldn't really think who it was, and you said Djenepo. And since you mentioned him, I've had a look whenever they've been playing, and I've had the telly switched on, and he looks all right. He don't look a bad player. I would imagine there's a bit more to come from him, but they're a good team, and better than the sum of their parts. Although the sum of their parts is still quite good. They're doing a cracking job there.
Yeah, I think Djenepo has unfortunately lost his mum earlier. I think it was maybe yesterday. Oh. He lost his mum, so sad times for him at Southampton. Stuart Armstrong's playing well there now, actually. He's someone I would have reminded West Ham taking a punt on, but we didn't. It was quite a low-cost punt, in my opinion, and it never really worked initially, but Hasenhutl's now found a position for him on right midfield, and he works hard. He's been scoring for them as well, so he'll be tricky to watch. Their centre backs is where I think they're poor. I think Jack Stevens is awful back. I don't really like that Vestergaard either. I don't think he's particularly great. Benarek I like. I think he's good. I still can't believe they managed to convince Arsenal to take Cedric on loan. Do you remember when we were with him in January and I said, he's awful, I really don't want to see him at West Ham. How they managed to get Arsenal to loan him, and then they went and got Kyle Walker-Peters instead. That is one of the best business in January. I think fair play to Southampton for managing to do that. But Ward-Prowse, I think, is just some player. He's a player that I've always liked. And who was the last Southampton manager? Who did Hasenhüttl take over? Was it Hughes? No.
I don't know.
Was it Hughes?
No, I don't. Does it? I don't think so.
No.
No.
It wasn't Puel because he went before. And there was
He went over to Leicester. Or did he go from Leicester to... I don't know.
I think there was someone in between Puel and Hasenhüttl. I don't know. Someone in the live chat Puel. But anyway, he didn't really like Ward-Prowse for whatever reason. And I don't know. I just found it a bit strange. But Hasenhüttl's made him key in that centre midfield. And Southampton are playing almost a 4-4-2, and the way they're able to play a 4-4-2 is because the middle of the park works well, and it only works because of Højbjerg, which you mentioned, and Ward-Prowse, and I think they struggle without them. Whenever Romeo comes in, I don't think it's quite the same. Ward-Prowse has had to fill in at right back in the last few weeks because of injuries to Walker-Peters and Valerie, and I think they miss him in there. I watched them against Villa last week. And Southampton were brilliant. They really were brilliant. And what impressed me the most is the first team I've watched live is the first team I've seen handle Jack Grealish for 90 minutes. I didn't see Jack Grealish the whole game. Well, I did see him. But anytime he got the ball, there was a foul straight away. And they were all taking turns to do it. Ward-Prowse would have a go. Højbjerg would have a little nibble. Armstrong would come in and take him down. I just thought they know what they're doing here. And they weren't taking bookings for it. It was just shirt pulling because Jack Grealish goes down and moans about it. So they were just doing it. I just thought Hasenhüttl's just took him out of the game completely. Easy win for Southampton last week. Anyway, time to talk about West Ham. But before we do, home game. A home game, which means the boats are open. They're open before the game. Open at 12 o'clock and they're open after the game until 7 p.m. So if you fancy a beer and a barbecue, come down. Myself and Gonzo will be there. We'll be there with having one of each, a few drinks, getting in the mood for the football and hopefully celebrating a win afterwards. But the team news for West Ham, we obviously know Ryan Fredericks is out. He's out for approximately 6 weeks, and unfortunately Souček sustained that injury at Anfield and he's out for 3 weeks. Yarmolenko, however, is teetering on the brink of coming back to the squad. If he is available for this match or not, I do not know, but I don't think it's going to impact what we want to see 11s that we're going to go through in a second. But we all start with the back, Gonzo. But is this the first time in a long time? It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
No, he's going to switch it to 3 at the back, but it should
for
be.
For me and you, it's straightforward.
Yeah, 100%. Get a boy in, and the other boys. 4 boys at the back. That's what we want, not 5 or 3.
You can't change it. You just can't.
Well, look, who knows? Look, we both know what we want to see. So obviously Fabianski didn't enjoy the best of games, but a wonderful keeper. He comes in, and Gachia, Diop, Ogbonna, those 2 at the centre get to continue what I think is starting to become a really good understanding between them as well. I think there was a lot of promise there. There was an element of luck to all Liverpool's goals, I think it's fair to say. Cresswell at left back, certainly. And yeah, I mean, same for yourself, surely.
Yeah, I think you're going to have the same formation as well, I think, with the 4-3-3 kind of thing going on. I think we're both going to pick that out. And I think our 6, I think is similar, might be 1 or 2 slightly different in there. But before we get on to that, how big a miss is Souček for Saturday?
Yeah, he's silly, isn't it? I don't like to... It sounds silly, because what is that, 3 games now? Is it 3 games? Yeah. It's loath to talk about someone who's only played 3 games for us being that important, and it certainly shouldn't be so. But I guess, Gio, we can't spend years moaning about the lack of quality in midfield. Excuse me, lack of quality in midfield. Then when we get somebody that's got a bit of quality in midfield, and then make out we can handle it without him, because clearly we can't. He's going to have to juggle things around a little bit, but we are going to miss him. We're going to miss his physicality, and I mean, how many times have I said it? Just the all-round nature of his game, with the heading, the tackling, the passing, the interceptions, and the excellent work rate. Yeah, particularly against a midfielder we know are going to fire and function against us, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a big miss. It was just so much of our game plan at Anfield was based around him. All our goal kicks, he was moving into a position where they were landing so he could compete for them and stuff. And once he went off, didn't really have that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Moyes comes up with a game plan for our goal kicks. Even what you're going to do now, because the guy you were aiming for is no longer on the pitch. I thought we lost control of midfield. I'm not saying we were controlling or bossing midfield against Liverpool, but we held our own in there. We were giving it a fair, good battle, and I think when Solskjaer went off, I think we just gave Liverpool the edge a little bit more. It might have naturally happened anyway because of their fitness levels and their quality and whatever, but we just have to also take into consideration that it was when Solskjaer went off that when they started to come through the middle of the park a bit more. So how do we counteract that? Obviously Declan Rice is going to be in there. Who's your other two in the middle?
I moved Snodgrass next to him, next to Declan, so Snodgrass to play in in Solskjaer's position in that sense, and then where Mark Noble played, I'm going to play the fornicator Fornals.
That's exactly what I've got as well. So I don't think our front three is not the same. It's not the same.
Oh, okay, fine, okay.
I think we're both going to have Bowen right.
We are both going to have Bowen right. Come on, bring it on.
No,
bring it
I'm
on.
afraid.
I've gone for a curveball though, which is more than something that Arthur Masuaku can produce. Thank you. I'm going for Sebastian Haller up front in the middle for
That's
this
what
one.
I've done.
Oh, you are cheeky. You're a naughty minx, that's for sure.
Well, that leaves one question: Anderson or Antonio on the left?
Anderson.
I've gone Antonio.
Oh, you nearly produced a good team.
So what's your okay? Why are you leaving out Antonio?
Just want him to come off the bench. I think his endeavour is useful. If we were playing away from home, which ironically enough, Southampton actually play better away than they do at home. If we were playing away from home, I think you've got to chase the game more. I'd like to think, all things being equal, we have a bit more possession. I also it's a shame we bought Bowen when we're feeding off scraps in terms of how much evidence we got to analyse him. So I'm pinning a lot of my analysis on that one run he made, and Antonio did play a lovely pass through. And as I alluded to in one of our videos, I thought it was almost a rugby league type run, and waiting for the offload as it. But he looks like he's just going to come in off the edge and support the striker. Well, actually, I think Haller might like that attribute. I think if he can get close to him and link with him, I think that'd be quite good. I also think we've run Antonio ragged as well, and he is such. I read an article yesterday about him coming off as sub, and it actually somebody in the comments on one of our videos a week and a half ago did quite a lengthy write up about it. How he thought Antonio was a really good impact sub. I know you think that as well, and you've said it many times in the past. And I looked at it and I thought, actually, yes, that's. I think we could really impact the game coming off the bench. And I did think Anderson was getting better as the game went on, up to the point where he was taken off as well. So he's come back off injury as well. Yeah, that's it really. Nothing more than that.
I think the thing is though. Anderson just bottled it. He just bottled it on Monday for me. And I'm talking about just 50-50 tackles or even 60-40 tackles in his favour. And he still ducked out of them. And we can't allow that. And while Walker-Peters or Valerie may start at right back, there's also a chance Ward-Prowse will continue at right back. And if they've got Ward-Prowse there, we need someone that is going to tackle, because his crossing is, in my opinion, one of the best in the league. And if they're taking him and put him into the right back position, they've then got someone that's able to whip that ball in from 40 yards back from the goal line and stick it on Danny Ings' head. I want someone there that's going to work hard. And Anderson, to me, he didn't work hard enough on Monday. He had a chance, he'd come back, and I'm aware he's back after a lengthy injury and stuff, but that doesn't excuse ducking out of tackles. Even more reason to come in and be going into those tackles like that. And I think Antonio, over the last two games, has produced the best pass in both of them for West Ham. It was him that set up Bowen, and then it was him that nearly set up Snodgrass at the Etihad. He put that cross in. And so I think he deserves this start for that one. But Sebastian Haller up front is going to raise a few eyebrows from some people. What's your justification for that one?
I just think we'll have more of the ball. I don't think, as I say, if it was away and you need your striker to chase everybody down in a sort of Antonio type way, then I wouldn't have him in the team. But actually, I like to think that we should have enough possession, that Haller is actually going to be in the middle, and he does know where the back of the net is. He does. He can. He can. If he gets a shot and he gets a chance, he's likely to finish it in there. So yeah, I mean that's it. But I also think because of his size, because of his heading, I think he's the perfect foil for Bowen joining him late as well. I think he might enjoy playing with Bowen. As I say, we've got very little evidence to judge that on, but just that run, I thought, okay, yeah, that might help. And I just think we have the ability to put some service over to Sebastian Haller. It's yeah, I think he gets a goal. That's as simple as that.
I think with Haller though, he just needs people close to him. And Southampton away, actually, it's when it was arguably one of Haller's best performances for us, and I was up front with Antonio, the two of them up front, and they were in, and Haller was sort of dropping deep a little bit to win the headers, to win the flick-ons, and Antonio was working well off the back of him. So while I want slightly different, but that's because I want Bowen on the pitch as well, and I don't want Bowen to be like right midfield. I'd rather he was right wings, slightly less defensive work to be done, and a bit more central than a traditional right midfielder would be, for example. And I think we need a goal scorer between now and the end of the season. We need someone that's going to stick the ball in the net, because we're not scoring enough from open play, and our best chance probably is Sebastian Haller. I quite like Antonio up front away to the Sky Sports top six, but he's had 2 games now against Man City and Liverpool, and while he done all right, that's all he done. He done all right. Some of his runs were quite. I was speaking to Charlie, and I said something to Charlie, and I thought I'm going to remember that, so I say in the preview. Antonio is hard to mark, but he's easy to defend against, if that makes sense. There's a big difference between the two things. I think for a centre-back, you're up against Antonio and he's running all over the place, you think, you just run about me, I'm just going to stand here. When you get the ball, then I'll come and get it off you, kind of thing. And I think there is a little bit of that. You do notice when he's up front, you do notice he's just not a striker. It was a bit like that with Arnautovic at times when we had Arnie up front. Yeah. We just noticed he wasn't a striker, and we've only got 2. One of them's a Yeti, and the club don't even know how old he is, so there's not much hope of him suddenly smacking the goals in. But with all that said and done, we played well on Monday, but we got no points. We still ended up with a loss. Are you confident for this one?
No, not at all. No, not even remotely.
Optimistic?
No.
No,
not at all. No, far from it. I think it's a.
I wasn't expecting that.
We're playing a good team who specialise away from home. I don't see us. Can't really see. Just can't see us winning. Really, Geo. To be perfectly honest with you, mate, I just can't. No, it's harder. I'm not sure where to get any confidence from. I can't remember when the last win was. No, I'm struggling to get any confidence really from anywhere.
I am not confident, but what I am is I'm optimistic. I'm taking something from the game on Monday. I'm quite looking forward to this one. Because Southampton play 4-4-2, essentially, or a variation of it, that allows you to have an extra attacking player, I think, because there's only 2 in the middle for them. Generally speaking, they only have 2 centre midfielders. So that allows you to push one of your centre midfielders on. It allows you to go 4-3-3 a little bit and go toe-to-toe with them. The only trouble is that means that Diop and Ogbonna both have someone to mark directly, and that concerns me a little bit. Will our centre-backs be able to handle one of them not being free, essentially? I am not too sure. But I'm optimistic. Cautiously optimistic, I should say. I'm nervous for Moyes' selection. If he puts out your team or my team, I'll be excited. I'll be thinking, We've got goals in this. We're going to score 2. Can Southampton score 2? That's the question. But if he switches to 5 at the back, if he keeps Bowen on the bench for whatever reason, then I'm going to think before we even started. But I'm actually looking forward to Saturday. It's the first time in a long time I've looked forward to a home game. I've been thinking, you know what, I'm looking forward to getting down there and getting in the ground and stuff like that. So I've got my feel-good factor back for whatever reason. Can I get your score prediction, please? I am bit nervous to what you always say, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Southampton, West Ham 1, Southampton 2 for this one, Gio. I think probably.
That's not good, Gonzo.
I do think he'll go with a 3 at the back. I do. I mean, you know, even the more you carried on talking, the more I thought he would. I think, 2 strikers, 3 at the back. You know, 2 in midfield, tighten up midfield. You know, I just can't see him going for it. I really can't. I really can't.
I think the penny's dropped with him. I think he made a comment after the Man City game. He made a comment about the real supporters know how difficult these fixtures are, and I thought that was a bit of a dig. And I didn't know who. Maybe it's because we do YouTube. I'm a bit paranoid. I thought, who the hell are you digging out?
He definitely meant you. He was talking about you directly.
But I was thinking, who are you digging out though here, David? Because I thought you're digging out the away end essentially, and I thought that's a very dangerous thing to do here. But if he genuinely maybe felt the away end or the general fan base was being harsh on him after the Etihad game, he would have then went to Anfield, had a pop, got beat, and then actually got a standing ovation for it. And he might have thought, oh, hang on, we've got beat here, but we're getting praise. The fans are happy, but we've got beat. But I'm just hoping the penny's dropped and he's realised, actually, if I have a go, if I try and win games, they'll appreciate that. They'll respect that. I think we're going to go forward at the back on Saturday, guys. I don't think he's going to change much. I think he's going to make one change. I think he's going the first one, so check, and I think he's thinking, who do I put in there? Do I put in Lanzini? Sorry, or do I put in Fornals? I think that's his decision. I don't think it'll be Bowen. Might be Ali and then move Antonio out. I don't think it will be, because I think he'll try and keep Snodgrass out right. So I think it'll be Lanzini or Fornals that comes in there and plays centre midfield, and I think that's the only change it'll be. My score prediction, 2-1 West Ham. I think we're going to win it. I think we're going to win, Gonzo. But anyway, I shall see you Saturday.
You will.
If you've enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it and subscribe when you're around here. And remember, when you're down there, be aware. Don't stare. Catch you in a bit.